Love music. Live sport. Talking football with Bill Young and Gerry Collins on Rock Sport Radio.
Okay, here we are for another Talking Football across Central Scotland on DAB Digital Radio. Online at rocksportradio.co.uk via your smartphone and your smart speaker. That's using the TuneIn and the Radiogram apps. And of course, you can watch the programme live as we stream on Facebook, on Twitter, on Periscope and on YouTube. And good to welcome back Gerry Collins. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much, Bill. Very well.
Before we start with anything, and I will talk to you about this a wee bit later on, I would like your thoughts, and we spoke about it last night with Mr McCabe and Mr Burns, your thoughts on the leaked documents from Celtic regarding people's contracts and transfer targets and things like that. Been suggestions that they seem to know who it might be. I don't know. We're not going to name any names, obviously, because it's just speculation. But I just thought I'd get your views as a Celtic man, because Celtic traditionally have been extremely good at keeping things like that in-house and people not getting any wind of anything like that.
Bill, I don't know if there's anything in the document that people didn't really know. Was there anything in there that you thought, oh, I didn't know that?
Well, I didn't know the transfer targets, but then again, I'm not a Celtic supporter, so I wouldn't follow that closely anyway, even as a journal. Kel Lustig seems to be a wee bit bitter and twisted at the minute, saying that, you know, it was part of a very, very badly handled kind of discussion about his future. But, you know, I don't know. For me, it's not about the contents of the document. It's about the fact the document was leaked. And that is very unusual for Celtic. And obviously, as a club, they're very disappointed and very angry about it, talking about possible criminal charges being brought against somebody.
I think when they talk... Well, for me, when they talk about criminal charges, you're not too quick to have criminal charges for current members of staff, are you? I think the criminal charges, that would tell me that it's someone that's left the club. Criminal charges because they've left in bad taste. No, I think I said to you before...
Or somebody who might be leaving the club.
Yeah, and I think I said to you before regarding certain things at the club that Mr Congleton had an open offer to go to Leicester, and he wouldn't go because his contract at Celtic was totally different from any other person in his department. So he was wanting to leave on his conditions, which would have forced Celtic to pay him a vast amount of money. But Celtic, being Celtic, told him, you're the, whatever his title is at Parkhead, but you'll be here as long as we're here, and we'll just work together and try and go over it. And they forced his hand, Bill.
You're not suggesting it was him that leaked it, though?
I'm suggesting it was him that leaked it, yeah, I am.
But have you got any evidence to support that?
None.
So allegedly,
you
know,
yes.
You think it may be him?
Well, yeah, you said we don't mention any names, but for Celtic to come out and tell you that there could be criminal charges, I don't think you take criminal charges lightly against anyone. If they're not at the club, see if they're at the club, then you've got the...
Yeah, but it might be somebody who's leaving the club that's still at the club, you don't know.
Well, you can't say players would be privy to the kind of documents, Bill. It's got to be somebody that's involved in the coaching or recruitment side. And for me, the prime... I might be totally wrong. I might be way off.
I mean, I know who it is.
Oh, you do?
I do. It's not him.
Oh, well,
I can tell you that now. It's not him.
Well, I'm totally surprised then.
But I'm not going to tell you on air who it is.
No, I'm gobsmacked then, Bill. Absolutely gobsmacked. But... Again...
But I can tell you it's certainly not him.
Right, but the information that was leaked, Bill, it doesn't tell you anything that people didn't know. If you're follow Celtic, Lustig scored the goal at Pittodrie, and I don't know if I said to you, but when he scored the goal, the section of the Celtic fans were there, what was there, 1,000 fans or whatever it was, and Lustig run to the fans, hitting his chest and pointing and telling them, and people were thinking, well, that's him telling them, I'm here. He was telling them, he kept doing it, I'm not finished. Because people follow Celtic tell you, Lustig had 7 great years, he's now come to the end of his tether, he's finished. And he knows that. And that was his wee bit to get back at Celtic, but tell, I'm not finished. But he is finished. Because Lustig is okay going forward, but he can't defend. Jordan Jones has proved that, Kilmarnock. The wee boy Mulroney at Hearts has proved that. Because any winger that takes him on, Bill...
Notice you left Ryan Kent out of that, Gerry.
Well, Ryan Kent, aye, well, but Kent, In the two games that Rangers beat Celtic, Bill, I wouldn't have said Ryan Kent was top man.
No, I never said it was.
No, but I'm saying...
But he certainly turned Lustig inside out.
Well, for me, the wee boy that they signed, Jordan Jones, absolutely tore him inside out at Parkhead every time he got the ball. And I watched it, I thought, God, he's going to be an asset at Rangers. Mulroney at
Go on, give a Rangers player credit for once. Go on, treat yourself.
What?
Have a wee bit.
He's done well. No, listen, that's what I'm saying about. I think the guy was finished. I think his best days are by him. And wingers ilk like the Ryan Kent ilk or Jordan Jones or Mulroney at Hearts, any decent wee winger would go and have a game with him.
So for you, it's not a big deal then. So are Celtic then making a mountain out of a molehill when it comes to this whole thing?
No. But I think what it is, I know for a fact that when Brendan Rodgers went to Celtic, Bill, things leak out of football grounds that people say, who told you that? Things leak out. You can't keep a secret in football. But I know for a fact that when Brendan Rodgers went to Celtic, he closed the door with all his staff, all the players, everybody involved in the first team. And he said to them, what happens in here stays in here. If anything leaks out for this dressing room, with this group of players, staff, everybody, if we find out who the culprit is, they don't work here anymore.
But it's interesting because a certain player, again, who will remain nameless, I was told, was moved on because he actually had repeated something outside.
Well, Malimbo went back to Kilmarnock, didn't he? Because of Chris Boyd told him something, or he told Chris Boyd something that happened in the dressing room. So then they switch off with Malimbo. Rodgers gets rid of him, goes way back to Kilmarnock, and now he's back at Celtic. So the way he worked, as far as I'm led to believe, was it was a closed shop. Whatever happens in there stays in there. And the fact that it leaked out, he didn't like it.
Okay.
And now this has leaked out, Bill. I don't think there's anything that people didn't already know. It's a fact that it's been leaked out. So,
well, when we come at the first commercial break, I'll tell you who it was.
Okay.
And then you'll be happier. But it certainly wasn't who you said it was.
Well, I thought it was. Yeah, I just showed you.
Definitely wasn't.
I'm wrong again, Bill.
Let me move on and speak to our first guest now. There's two reasons I want to speak to our first guest, because we're getting ready for the beginning of a new season. Of course, it's a busy time for managers, but more than that, they're kind of adopting a bit of a hybrid model when it comes to the full-time, part-time kind of thing. And we'll find out more about that. He's no stranger to the programme. Always good to talk to him. The Airdrie boss, Ian Murray. Ian, how are you?
Hi, good evening. I'm very well, thank you.
Do you feel as if you've had any kind of break, or has it just been non-stop for you?
No, yeah, well, I think, everybody in football knows your break, especially as a manager or coach or assistant or whatever it is, your break isn't really a full break. It's different for the players maybe who switch off and get their future sorted and go on holiday and stuff, but for managers, coaches and all that, it's quite a busy time. But in general, yeah, you mean away a little bit, but I wouldn't say it was a 100% break. Busy
time though. I mean, I've got a list of 10 signings in front of me as it stands just now.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how many they've signed actually, but our sort of dynamics of the football club changed quite quickly towards the end of the season when we decided to do the hybrid system. So we had to make sure, number one, we had enough players to make that worthwhile. Made up of younger players who have came through our academy and reserve teams, and also signings that that we felt full-time footballers who still wanted to be full-time footballers. So it's not as easy as it sounds. It's quite difficult to attract players. Because part-time players a lot of them have got good jobs outside of football and family commitments and stuff like that.
When did you decide that you were going to go with this hybrid model where you'd have some full-time, some part-time, and how much of a strain does it put on the club in terms of the finances?
We decided probably around about the start of April that was the way we were going to go. We were looking at different options of how we can improve and how to just tweak things a little bit in terms of the club and try and be a little bit better. And then we decided that the hybrid was the right model for us at this moment in time. Financially and in terms of stretching ourselves, it's a difficult one. Of course, we work within budgets. So we've got Stuart Miller, who's our director of football, who kind of takes care of the finances and leaves me to deal with the players. And we have to recognise that our backing from our owners being second to none, if we're being truthfully honest, and he's really backed us to the hilt. So we work within our guidelines and we work within our parameters, but we have got a very, very good owner who does help us.
Ian, Gerry Collins here.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Paul. See, you're talking about the hybrid. I remember, I keep going back to my time with Hamilton with Lambie, and we were all part-time, and Lambie used to have us all in 3 nights a week, but they were basically part-time at the time. And what we did, we trained because we won the league that year with 11 points, but we were the fittest team in the league, even though we were part-time. Yeah. And it was amazing because if you think about the full-time players were maybe training 4 days, getting a day off anyway, and you'd be maybe doing... On a Friday, you maybe walk through certain things, whatever, set plays. But on that basis of the part-time, they were paying decent money for part-time players, which meant we could attract people that had decent jobs. So it's a big gamble for you going the hybrid way.
It is. There's pros and cons of it all. We looked at the 3 nights a week stuff as well. We looked at sessions, maybe voluntary sessions, stuff like that. So we did look at every sort of avenue that we could have looked at, and we just felt the hybrid for us at this moment in time is the one that probably ticked the most boxes. It doesn't tick every box because you'd love to be full time. Everybody wants to be a full time football player, full time manager, full time. It just didn't work for us at that moment in time. So we know it brings a little bit added pressure to us. It brings, there's young players coming, that we've signed who, now they know it and we know it, that they're full-time footballers, but there's a long way to go for them to get in the first team. They need to come in and work hard and get there in a full-time environment type sort of thing. So that'll take a little bit of adapting for them as well. As a manager, as you know, you want to spend as much time as you possibly can on the pitch with the players, and you want to be around the players as much as you can, because that's what we like to do. The mundane stuff of sitting in meetings and stuff like that isn't really certainly not what I want to do. I want to be out on the pitch with the players. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. And as you said about the fitness, that's one thing that we've tried to install in the players from day one. That regardless of how much money you have, regardless of being the best team, there's certain things you can't actually be the best at without putting too much effort. And one's fitness, attitude, dedication, having the best training, looking after each other. These are all things that come for free if you work at them. So there's no excuses for the boys, the part-time ones or the full-time ones, not to be as fit as possible. And it's one of the things I want to try and be the fittest team in the league, because I think at this level it goes a long way. Yeah, without a doubt.
When will you get together? I take it, would it be a Thursday night then that the full-timers would come in?
Yeah, our sort of model at the moment is, there'll be tweaks here and there, and there'll be a lot of teething problems, we know that, but the part-time boys will stick to part-time Tuesday, Thursday nights. Our full-time lads will be on Monday. They'll probably do a double Tuesday, be off Wednesday, probably bring the younger full-time players in on the Thursday morning as well, just to try and help them improve, leave the older ones to the evening, and then we'll do walk through Friday. So it's not, for the part-time guys, there's no change whatsoever. It's a Tuesday, Thursday night, completely what you're used to. For the full-time guys, slightly different. Just logistics of between 8 o'clock at night. Now we can't expect boys to come in at 10 in the morning and stay here till 8 o'clock for the next session, so we need to tweak that a little bit. But I mean, I don't foresee too many problems, mainly because we're based at the stadium, which is a real advantage. We don't have to be looking for pitches, we don't have to be looking for areas of airdrie to go and train in, or we don't have the equipment facilities. We've got so much good things here that we just felt that to maximise the use of the place.
Brilliant. Ian, I'm assuming there were a number of things that you wanted to obviously attract players that were full-time and wanted to stay full-time. You've explained that, but I'm assuming also that there must have came a point where you looked back on the season, or maybe, kind of towards the end of the season, looked at where you were and thought, just with that wee bit extra push, we might have just got here and gone up. Was that something that you looked back on and felt that had you had more full-time players, or you had the hybrid rather in place, that it might have been a slightly different season for you this season?
Yeah, I think a lot of teams will look back. It was a funny old season for airdrie, to be honest. We had some really great results, we had a few dips. If I'm being brutally honest with the assessment of what we had last year, I think deep down I knew myself we weren't quite good enough to be classed in the same level as your Raith Rovers and Forfar. I always felt we would catch East Fife. That was a team I felt we would catch from day one. I didn't see Montrose putting the run together that they did, and full credit to them for doing that, because it was a heck of a run towards the end they put on. So, yeah, we're disappointed to miss out the playoffs because it generates extra revenue and extra excitement for people. But if I'll point to the Queen of the South Montrose 5-0 game. I always felt that was probably going to happen to whoever finished in the fourth position.
Just looking at the players that you've brought in, I mean, they've come from far and wide. Queen of the South, Celtic Reserve, St Mirren, East Kilbride, Motherwell, Brecon, Thistle, Dumbarton, Raith Rovers. How easy is it now to look at players and get players that you would particularly target? Because obviously everybody's fishing in the same pool in each league, but there is more and more it seems there's more and more movement with players these days as well.
Yeah, there is. It's a league that I've not really had to recruit in before. Obviously, with Dumbarton it was Championship, with St Mirren it was Championship. Two different approaches of recruiting players, because one had been relegated from the Premier League, and a lot of stuff had been knocked out of them. They were full time. Dumbarton were part time, but we could attract good players because we had Rangers in the league at the time, we had Hearts and Hibs in the league. So attracting players at Dumbarton wasn't that hard. It was quite an easy process for the ones we wanted. It's been slightly harder, to try and attract players to League One at times. Totally understandable as well. But I think our main thing is we needed guys that knew the league. We needed guys that know what it's like to go and play against Sturmar away, where we really need to get a win, or we need to go to East Fife and dig out a result and stuff like that. Because last year I just felt we lost 10 games 1-0, and it's no coincidence that the team scored first, they shut up shop and we couldn't break them down. So that was something we tried to identify and make sure we got guys who were going to come in, realise what it's about, realise there is a little bit of pressure at Airdrie, because everybody knows, how successful they were 25, 30 years ago. So that was one area that we really, really had to identify. And we think we've got a good blend at the moment. We'll probably, hopefully, cross fingers, Stuart will probably get his hair out, but I'm hopeful then we get another 2 or 3, and that'd be fantastic for us.
Where do you feel you're short now, Ian?
I think we still need a striker. We've got obviously Ali Roy had signed yesterday, Callum Gallagher had signed, Gail Carrick. We've got a few young boys in there as well, who are maybe not quite ready. So we need one more. We definitely need one more. And it's one of these ones, Gerry, that you get your squad, but if something comes up late on and you really want it, hopefully you can try and manoeuvre a few things to try and get them in. But I think our priorities right this moment in time will be probably a midfield player, a striker, and perhaps one more defender. That would probably be us.
My next door neighbour, his girlfriend, they're partners, and they were at a wedding. I said, I didn't know that. It just shows you I don't talk to neighbours, I just say hello to them, I don't know them. How you getting on? Fine.
Maybe neighbours don't talk to you.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. Anyway, he said to me, I said, well, you're all dogged up, where are you going? He said, I'm going to a wedding. He went, my girlfriend's boy's getting married. I went, oh, very good. He went, Gerry, you'll know him as a footballer. I went, is he? He said, the thing is, he'd just been told his contract's not getting renewed. I went, all right. Is it Durnan? Durnan, he played with Dundee 18.
Yes, Big Mark, yeah.
He's away in honeymoon. I believe he got married the other day. He's away on honeymoon, but he got freed before he went on honeymoon. So I believe he's on the shelf looking for a club, Ian.
Yeah, well, he had a wee injury, I think, last year at Dunfermline.
That's right.
To be honest, I think there was a few teams sniffing about him January time. But it just goes to show you, footballers, it's a difficult trade, it's a difficult environment.
Yep.
You're getting married, you're going honeymoon, you don't have a club. There's not many jobs in the world where you go on honeymoon worrying about where your next wage is going to come.
You're right.
So it's a difficult time for players. It really is, and it's not easy. It's being there myself, and most players have been there. That's not the nice part of the job. The nice part's working with guys and seeing them improve and bonding with them and trying to help them to get on to better things. That's the ultimate goal for clubs like Airdrie. We want to be successful as a football club, but we also want to help players develop their skills and go as high as they can. And on the flip side, you do have to release players and get rid of them for whatever reason, and kind of have to let them go away and let their wins a little bit.
Ian, you've already highlighted that the owner is back to you 100%, and you're looking at this new hybrid. But it still must be quite difficult just kind of getting that mix right, that blend right of youth and experience to bring young players on, but to have enough experience in the team that can give you that kind of stability and allow you to bring young players on.
Yeah, it's probably the hardest part, or certainly one of the hardest parts of the job, is getting that balance. No disrespect to youth coaches and academies, and they're promoting their own players, which quite rightly so. But it's not a case of, if somebody comes to me and says they've got 6 players that ready to go first team, I'll be very surprised, because that would make us one of the best youth setups in the country. If it was as easy as just putting young players in, everybody would do it. Every club in Scotland would do it. It's just not that easy, because it takes young players a long time. It takes young players time to develop mentally, time to develop physically, time to be able to handle being in a group of older men as well sometimes, being able to take criticism from the manager, from coaching staff, from fellow players. So it takes young players a long time to adapt. If we can get 1 or 2 through every couple of years, we'll be delighted. The youth coaches here and the reserve manager do a great job. But, to be brutally honest, and everybody knows 3 o'clock on the Saturdays, that's all really fans care about if you're winning games on a Saturday.
Ian, what's your pre-season plans? Where do you go and who do you play?
Well, we've got boys in tonight. We started voluntary sessions last week. Just purely to keep boys ticking over, completely and utterly voluntary. If they come in, they come in. If they don't, they don't. There's no repercussions, anything like that. It's purely to get a group of guys together who want to keep fit. So we'll do that tonight. But our official start date is Saturday. We play Queen of the South on the 29th. We play Albion Rovers on the 2nd, and we play who's the other one? We have Cowden Beef on the 6th. Before we go into the Betfred Cup, where we've got a really tough group, so we're very happy. I mean, we're probably a wee bit ahead, planning-wise, of where we thought we'd be. So it's been a good sort of 10 days for us.
Brilliant.
Sorry, go on, Jim.
No, great.
Ian, just while I've nabbed you about, let me ask you a couple of bits and pieces. First of all, your thoughts on the national team, Steve Clarke's appointment, and your thoughts on the game against Cyprus and what your expectation level is tonight. I know there's 3 components there, but you can lead them on to one after the other.
Yeah, obviously, I was actually over in Ireland at the weekend watching a game, so I only caught the second half of the Scotland game. I mean, I think Scotland were in a unique position. We had 2 guys, in my opinion, who would have done an excellent job, and Steve Clarke and Derek McInnes. I thought Derek might have just shaded it purely because he'd been in Scotland a wee bit longer. He'd managed in more bigger games up here, in a team that perhaps had to go up against Celtic 5 or 6 times over the last couple of years on really big occasions, and he set his team up fantastically well. And to be honest with you, that's how Scotland have to set up normally. Example this evening against Belgium, they'll have to set. They can't go and play 4-4-2. They can't go and play 4-3-3. I'll be very surprised if they do, because they're playing against a quality side. But on the flip side, Steve Clarke came up here and done an incredible job with Kilmarnock, manager of the year. Again, set his team up fantastically well against Celtic and Rangers and beat them, which is a really key component. So, I mean, I think it was a toss of the coin, really. I don't think anybody would argue with either of the guys. And Steve's gone in there, and he's bringing a fresh wave of optimism with the supporters. Tonight will be a really tough one. You're playing against, I think, the number 1 ranked in the world at the moment, Belgium, and beat Scotland, I think, with 3 or 4-0 at Hampden a few months ago. So it'll be really difficult. But I don't think, certainly I wouldn't judge Steve Clarke on tonight's performance or tonight's result either way.
This is one of the difficulties, and we discussed this on Friday when I had Hugh Burns and Paul Haggerty on with me, and I was saying the sad thing is that if there is not a display against Cyprus that looks as if we're in complete control, everybody's going to go, what's the difference between Steve Clarke and Alec McLeish? I thought it looked a nervous kind of performance the other night. I thought there was a lot of people still feeling their way around. it was a strange one. I thought that we got out of jail a wee bit by getting the goal late on, but we gifted them the goal. Somebody who puts in the ball like that with her head and doesn't even have to jump for it, stands static, just tells you how poor that was. It was a goal that we just threw away. But look, this is a building process for me, guys, and from that point of view, I hope everybody is patient. For years and years and years, look at Belgium. They scrapped everything for 10 years. The Germans are rebuilding and have gone back and scrapped everything. France did it. Spain have done it. Why isn't it good enough for us to do it? And people say, oh, well, we want to qualify for major tournaments. We haven't qualified for 21 years. Another 3 or 4 years is not going to kill us for me.
Yeah, I agree. It would take a brave man to come out and say it, but I always felt that they should maybe, the powers that be would come out and say, right, this boy's got a 6-year plan and it's going to be 6 years. Results, performances will not change our manager. So come out and back us, basically, because we will get it right eventually. But again, easy for me to say I'm not in that position. But exactly like I say, I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, look at Iceland, look at Wales, look at Holland now, look at England." But people forget they have not been anywhere for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Iceland have had maybe a 4-year run at it. Wales had about a 2-year run at it. Northern Ireland had maybe 3 or 4 year run at it. It's not like these countries have been dominating world football. They've had one cycle, and they'll take a wee on the back burner a little bit and they'll come back. But if you look at all the nations, it kind of goes in cycles. Brazil are another one. They've done well at certain points and been poor at other times. The Germans had to strip everything back. The Dutch stripped everything back. So I think it's very easy to go and say, let's look at Iceland. They've only got a population of this, that and the other. Ultimately, for the part, Iceland have been very, very poor at football. Only in the last few years they've came forward.
Yeah. See, Bill, I think the Scotland fans have got to get a reality check here.
No, I agree.
Because we don't have the best players in the world. And I think the fact that Stevie Clarke came in, who would have said 5 years ago that 3 Kilmarnock players would be on the periphery of a Scotland national team? O'Donnell, Brophy and Finlay. Kilmarnock, we're talking about Kilmarnock here, who had their best season in 25 years, whatever. And we've got 3 their players playing in the national team. You would never have thought that.
But we had this conversation before we split up for those 2 weeks where we debated about them being there. And for me, it's right that they're there. Now, it's right for a couple of reasons, not least of which is the fact that Steve Clarke knows them and has managed to get the best out of them at club level. So therefore, it's fair to assume he can get the best out of them at international level.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Gerry about the reality check. I think a lot of fans are quite real in their expectations, but say newspapers and stuff contribute a little bit to our negativity when things aren't going great. Steve's picked the squad and what he thinks on merit, which is great. And as you said, 3 Kilmarnock players. I'm not sure that's ever happened before. I really don't know. But for any team in Scotland out with no front or 3 international players in one squad is an incredible achievement for the boys personally and also for Kilmarnock as a football club. So, there's plenty of positives there to take, that's for sure.
Ian, I get slaughtered on this programme about a month ago, and it was taken out of context and taken the wrong way. And what I said, but Bill's laughing at me here. He's ready to... No. Ian, what I said was that I felt sorry for Big McLeish because Big Alec was normally guaranteed 6 or 7 players for the Old Firm, right? The fact that Alan McGregor retired for international football, we didn't have a Rangers player in the team, in the Scotland team.
Yeah.
Which must be a hindrance to Big Alec. It must be, because normally you could go to Rangers and Selden and say, I give 3 their players and 3 their players. That didn't happen. So then he's got to look elsewhere. And I felt his hands were tied. But Stevie Clarke's come in. Now, whether it'll be proved, his job will determine whether he does it or no, he doesn't do it. He's brought these guys in, he's given them a chance. I still thought, Bill, that there were better players. Now, is Brophy a better player than Russell?
Well, I thought Brophy was poor the other night. I think he looked inexperienced. Right. I didn't think he looked comfortable with what he had to do. It did, went right past him.
Johnny Russell.
But to be fair, we didn't really give him a lot to chase, did we?
I know, but we're playing against a team that we all expected to beat comfortably, Bill. Comfortably.
Well, you say that, Gerry. I don't know that we did because, look where we've been previously against other teams in previous years. I think that your reality check thing kicks in here where we've got to say, I don't think there's any teams we can expect to beat comfortably. I think we've got to work hard. We've got to maintain our shape. We've got to be, the way... for me, the thing that's been missing from the Scotland game, Ian, is the fact that I think we play and we have an inherent way of playing which is traditionally to put a lot of effort into it. It's a bit of blood and guts. It's really chasing everything down, getting in people's faces. And for me, for too long, Scotland have thought they've been Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on the Brophy, I was surprised Brophy started instead of Burke, if I'm being honest, purely because Burke brings you that electric pace that you need at international level, to get through defences and through balls and stuff like that. I think for a while Scotland have struggled. We've got some really good players, but we have to realise, example for the season, Scotland are not going to be a possession-based team tonight. They're going to be a counter-attack team all day long, and they have to be. They actually have to be, because if Scotland think they can go out and knock the ball about against Belgium away, then the game could be over after 25 minutes, and that's the last thing Steve Clarke wants. The only thing is, if you sit in, you do a game plan. If you lose a goal after 5 minutes, it's not the end of the world. It's not the ideal start. You've still got a chance. You've still got that wee chance. It's about how you react to that. I think again, the expectations from some people in Scotland are a wee bit high. We have to be realistic. We are ranked where we are for a reason. And you point to there's a game last night, Republic of Ireland versus Gibraltar, 2-0. An own goal and a goal in the 94th minute. It's not easy. International football is no longer the laughing stock of teams like your San Marinos, the Faroe Isles, Estonias. They're getting better. They're making things much, much harder. They set themselves up in a certain way that it's very, very difficult to break teams down. You've seen, I think, in the Champions League final as an example, Spurs could not break Liverpool down. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. Listen, Ian, thanks for being on. Always good to talk to you. Good luck for the new season. I know that we'll talk to you at some point during it, and I hope everything goes well and the hybrid doesn't take too long to settle in, and you have a good season. Thanks again, Mike.
Good luck, bud.
That's great. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Ian Murray there, the Airdrie manager, talking to us tonight. Charlie Richmond joins us next. We'll talk about the new rules, handball, everything else. And I'm going to ask Charlie a question I asked last night that I want an answer to, and I need an answer to. So we'll be asking him that next on Talking Football.
Love music, live sport. Talking Football with Bill Young and Gerry Collins on Rock Sport Radio.
Okay, just before we go to my next guest, Charlie Richmond, a few tweets come in. One of them, the corrupt referee, Bill breaking Andy Robertson to miss Belgium game. I haven't seen that, but he's saying that this is where he's getting it. One other, Mr. Shut Up, who lives in Alabama. Big decision, Bill. I have to choose between USA women versus Thailand or Scotland versus Belgium, both on same time. Both are must-see for me. Take one of them. Record one of them. That's what hard drives are for, man. Goodness sake. Make sure the one you watch is Scotland against Belgium. Mr. Richmond, how the trousers are you?
I'm very well, Bill. Very, very well. After my re-break.
Well, let me ask you, Charlie, let's get straight back into it and let's get into the controversy. Scotland losing a penalty. It sucked the life out of them in the first half the other night. They came back in the second half. Not enough to get us the 1 point. Penalty or no penalty?
I'm afraid if you'd asked me that about 6 weeks ago, I would have said no penalty, but that's the way we're going now, and the defender has made herself unnaturally bigger by that arm being out there, and of course the ball clearly struck it, so it's a sore one to take, but the other side of things is, as long as they keep going that way, and the concept of the decision as in meeting the criteria, then we should have no any qualms about consistency.
Charlie, I've got to ask another question before I come back to that one again. I asked it last night of Gerry McCabe, Hugh Burns. I'll ask it of you and Mr. Collins, because I can't get my head round it. Why is it in the World Cup at the moment the new rules are being applied, yet in the Euro qualifiers and the Nations finals, I didn't see them being applied, because there were umpteen opportunities for new rules to be applied that weren't applied, short of the one which is opposing team players not going in the wall. There were times where handballs were and they were accidental handballs by the letter of the law previously, but it seems to me that there is no ball to hand anymore. Everything's classed as handball if you're in an unnatural position, and we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that in a wee minute. But let me ask you, why is it that I'm seeing this in the World Cup? It's very clear the new rules are being implemented, but I didn't see them implemented at Hampden the other night, and I didn't see them in the Nations finals the other day either.
Well, the simple answer to that, Bill, is that they should be, because at the International Board in March, these decisions were ratified and they were given a time scale when they were to be brought in. And therefore, after that date of the 1st of July, then they should be administered.
Well, I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing it in the World Cup. I've seen it in the World Cup in terms of the making yourself bigger with a handball. I've seen it in the World Cup where a player was substituted and left the field by the byline instead of going to the halfway line. I've seen them not line up in walls and be apart. So, from that point of view, I'm seeing it working there, but I'm not seeing it working. I didn't see it working the other night.
Yeah, no. I can't defend the indefensible on that side of things, because every FIFA referee and every domestic referee gets a copy of the laws of the game with the amendments, and he should be there. You're fully aware of the date when to be implemented, and be aware of the rules of the competition. So right. I can't defend it. Right,
well now we're going to get a wee bit more controversial, because we've already spoken about unnatural positions. There isn't anybody that I've spoken to who's a player or an ex-player in the last few days who would agree that the girl was in an unnatural position. They've all said if you go and tackle somebody, or you go to tackle somebody with your hands behind your back, that's unnatural.
And I get that argument. I get that argument hundreds of times. But the concept is, would you go to block across with a straight arm wide out? Now, I'm not here to as I said, if you look at it in that point of view 6 weeks ago, then no, because another defining factor is the distance. Now, the distance between the two of them was highlighted at 3.4 yards. Now, if you go to block a ball, you're hyperextending, and therefore you need to have something to balance yourself with. And 9 times out of 10, that will be the closest arm, which tends to be, can I use the word half bent? But because it's outstretched, that's where the word in an unnatural position comes from.
Gerry?
Charlie, every handball in the penalty area, is it a penalty kick now?
I wouldn't be far away from saying yes.
So, right.
When you look at it from that point of view, because when you look at the Champions League final handball, the player was just telling his teammate to go with the runner. And you're, well, how can that be unnatural to tell him to go with your runner? So this one here, whilst we bring it in to try and clear it up, has maybe went the opposite way. And also what I would do a point across as well is the people in these steering groups are ex-managers, ex-referees and ex-players.
So they should know.
going to make a challenge or whatever, then I think my arm would be out. But would it be out fully extended, or would it be out half bent? And this is where they're getting away from now, because some people are hyperextending with their arms straight out anyway, and that looks sometimes really unnatural. Whereas if you extend to block the cross and your arm is half bent, I would say that's probably more natural. And therefore, if it hits your hand, then you would think yourself really, really unfortunate.
Charlie, a referee, if you're refereeing a game, you would know if I was trying to hit the opponent's hand or arm with the ball. You would know that. Your eyes tell you that. So, on VAR, so if the guy is going to aim for the guy's hand in the penalty area, known fine well he's going to get a penalty kick, VAR, all VAR sees is ball to hand or ball to arm. What VAR doesn't see is what the referee sees and saying, that guy's deliberate, that guy aimed for his hand. So players will now aim for the hand or arms of defenders in the box rather than maybe shoot for goal and try and gain. Is that no cheating to gain a penalty then?
Oh, well, then you're away down another avenue. Yeah, exactly.
Aye.
Exactly, for that point, for there. But what they're trying to do in this concept is to stop these people who... probably a better example is if the player jumps and turns their back and then puts their arms out, then, and the concept is, I don't know where the ball is, but I'm unnaturally making myself bigger. And that would probably have been an easier decision. If the Scottish lassie had jumped and turned her back and then flayed her arms out, you would have said that's probably more unnatural than what the actual lassie has done. But also the other side of things, that I would love to have been a fly in the wall to hear what the referee and the assistant referee thought at the time. Mm-hmm. Because what VAR has highlighted that this is a clear and obvious refereeing error. So if the referee has said, no, I've seen it and I'm quite happy with it, or if you've saw it and I've not saw it, is probably a better phrase to use. I've not seen that incident, so you've took it with regards to there. So even if the assistant referee who's probably looking straight at it, he says, no, I don't think that's a penalty kick, then the VAR says, no, that's a clear and obvious refereeing error. And that's maybe an inkling of why they've stopped and called the match referee over.
Charlie, carry on, Charlie.
No, it was just to say, to find out what that conversation...
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we'll probably never ever find that conversation.
Charlie, when the referee has been notified of a decision by VAR, has he been told... Yeah. The referee doesn't have a penalty. All of a sudden, he's been notified through his earpiece at he's got to go and look at VAR. Is that correct?
There's a VAR review going on.
Right.
So they'll turn around and they'll say, having a look at that penalty incident,
but
right, you're okay, carry on.
But if
they'll say, having a review at that penalty incident, don't restart the game. Right, we need you to come over and have a look at this.
So
if you've not saw this, we need you to come over and have a look at it. If the female referee had turned round and says, no, I saw it hitting her hand, but I'm quite happy with that decision, then he'll say, no, you need to come over and have a look at it.
So can the referee at that point, because he's getting pressured from VAR to come over and have a look at it, can the referee at that point say, I'm still okay with my decision, I still believe it wasn't a penalty? Can he be overruled by VAR people?
No, the referee's decision will be final.
Right.
For there.
Charlie, sorry, go on, Charlie.
But you would probably then have a debate of referee observer, etc., and that would be a different concept. Maybe never see a refereeing in the tournament again.
Right, now, I was a big advocate for VAR But I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in the way it's been operated, and I'm now starting to think that we've created a Frankenstein's monster that's got up off the table and started to fight with us now. And I'll give you a best example of it. Actually, two examples. The Scotland penalty, the penalty against Scotland would be one of them, where the ball has gone through quite a substantial passage of play and goes out of play at the other end of the park, and then it's all pulled back for VAR. But the one that stands out like a sore thumb is the one with Switzerland and Portugal, where they think it's a penalty for Portugal, and it gets pulled back as a penalty for Switzerland.
Because of that incident happened first. So when that incident happens first, and you go back and technically speaking, you've stopped the game to award the penalty kick. So therefore, anything after doesn't come into it. It's the same with, if we go back to the Hull Phantom goal. The ball went out of play for a throw-in, so the technical is the ball is out of play and the game's dead. Anything else after it has no effect. So that's why you go from one end to the other in order to go back and award that original penalty kick. And that's why we go back to it's going to take about 6 months to a year to get it in with the training aspect of it, because you'll see passages of playing on, and you'll be sitting in the front living room or wherever saying, that's clearly offside, but you're waiting to see what happens with the next passage of play until effectively the ball goes out, or you can clearly say that it's offside, or the penalty kick, or the red card, or whatever the decision is at the end of the day. So you've got to go with your first decision, and then if you correctly award that, nothing else, because the game is stopped.
Right, I'm with you in all of that. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. However, here's my bone of contention again as I expand it, and that is that I'm assuming that the VAR officials who are officiating at the World Cup are used to officiating with VAR, have been trained, have been using it regularly, and yet still we have games carrying on well beyond the incident before they're pulled back again. For me, VAR really is becoming a bit of a fiasco.
But again, it's to keep that passage of play going. Now, the VAR guys who are working at the Women's World Cup are the same guys who worked at the Men's World Cup. So there's a bit of consistency. Whether you think it's right or whether it's wrong, there's a bit of consistency across there as they implement it. And yes, you'll find that these guys are from Germany, Italy, Spain, who are using VAR on a week-to-week basis. Now, your second point, Bill, is if a decision has to be made and that assistant referee raises a flag and the ball ends up in the back of the net, and we stop, the assistant referee raises a flag, we stop, the ball ends up in the back of the net, we go to VAR, and the offside decision was wrong, then we have chopped off a perfectly good goal. Whereas, it's easier to go the other way. It's easier to let the play progress until there's a stoppage or until the decision has been clarified, and then you can move on. So, if I go to the second, we play, the assistant referee says, that's offside. We let it play, the ball ends up in the back of the net, the play has stopped, the girl raises a flag, it's offside, we go, and the VAR confirms, and eventually we've got the right decision 30 or 45 seconds later.
Charlie, do you not think that the standard of refereeing will diminish with VAR? Because it would tell me that you don't have to be the top of your game to referee a World Cup final or a Champions League final, because you could be a decent referee, get the final, knowing fine well that if you make a mistake, VAR's going to rectify it.
But I think in the mindset of the referee, you would still go out there to referee the game normally and make the normal calls and then have the system as a backup rather than going out there and saying, well, I'm not getting that because I wait, and then he'll back it up, and then you just become very nervous, you become very tentative, your body language will show that. Whereas if you just go out and referee, and again, there's nothing wrong with making mistakes if the VAR clears it up, because what you'll find is the decisions will get tighter and tighter and tighter, particularly to the offside decision. And if you look at England, Netherlands, and the offside goal was very, very, very close, but it was the right decision. And you'll start to see the millimetres between the players or the centre decrease. As long as the referee still goes with the mindset that I'm here to referee the game, rather than that. And I get what you're saying, Gerry, is just to go out there and say, right, that's a red card, but I'm not going to do anything. Right, VAR, you need to have a look at that red card. Right, okay, there we go. Because that will overall have an effect on you as a referee, particularly if you go to your next game and you don't have VAR.
Mm-hmm. Guys, I got to be honest with you, I'm starting to think that I got it wrong, shouting and bawling for VAR to come in, because I think it takes far too long to pull the game back. I think it takes far too long for the decisions to be made. VAR, when I saw it and envisaged it, was along the lines of the rugby situation, where the referee makes a decision, says to the VAR or the technical video referee or whatever you want to call them, I'm giving this, can you tell me that I'm right in doing that? And they come back and say, you may do that because it is a right call, or don't do that because it's a wrong call. For me, it's you know, we're now seeing 5, 6, 7 minutes added time at the end of games now because of injuries, substitutes, VAR decisions. I mean, you go out, soon you'll be going out on a Saturday and come back on a Sunday from a game.
Charlie, I remember when I was playing that Brian McGinley was a referee, and we'd all go back to Alhambra Bar and Glasgow City Centre and have a few beers, and Brian would come in with his linesman or whoever, and you chat, and if Brian done your game and you felt that you got away with a penalty kick, if you felt like the game that springs to mind with me was we played St Mirren in a Scottish Cup tie, and I thought it was a foul. I know it was a foul. I brought the guy down for St Mirren, but one each, Scottish Cup. It's a blatant penalty kick. I got away with one. But I met McGinley that night in the town, and I said to him, I got away with one today. He says, aye, but there'll come the day you don't get away with one. And I just think VAR is taking a part of football away that I enjoyed. Referees will make mistakes, we'll make mistakes, but you live and die by the mistakes anyway, Charlie, and you get on with it. All of a sudden it's all technology now. I'm not for VR at all. I'm not for it.
You've got, guys, we'll go to, and I'll use the example of the rugby side of things. When it first came in, we were maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes awaiting in a try decision because of the angles and stuff like that. The VAR's coming in now, and we are waiting a long time, yes. But I reckon, over a period of time, that distance and that time will be reduced and reduced and reduced. Remember, a few months ago, when we bring in VAR, there will be a system. It will not be all singing and all dancing. There will be teething problems, but we've got to try it. And this is the teething problems that you're probably seeing. And eventually, if we're lucky enough to be still in the same position 18 months, 2 years down the line, ask me the same question again, and we'll see how, because rugby has developed to get the decisions quicker, and I'm sure football will develop in order to get those decisions quicker.
All right, well, listen, I'm going to declare now the jury's out with me. You're against it.
Yes.
And Charlie says we've got to give it time to breathe. So we're kind of in a strange no man's land at the minute with it. Charlie, always good to talk to you, mate. Thanks for that. It was important because it's been doing my head in all weekend. Sorry, Gerry, what are you going to say?
I was going to say, you can't let Charlie go without mentioning Auchinleck Talbot winning the Scottish Cup again.
Listen.
There's still people getting days after work recovering. Yeah.
Charlie, listen, thanks. Go on, pal.
Probably not one of our best performances in the game, but the tactics were spot on, and it was nice to win the Junior Cup. I remember you asking me, Gerry, will I be delighted to win it next year when all the big teams are going out? Let's just enjoy this time.
You're right. Brilliant.
Listen, thanks again, mate, for being on. We'll speak to you next week, same time.
Pleasure, my learned friends.
Thanks, learned friends. Now I know you're taking the mickey. Thanks, Charlie. Speak to you next week. Charlie Richmond, our man in black, the man in the middle, talking to us tonight.
Yeah, that's something we agree on.
Well, no, we don't completely agree. But I've got to say, I'm backpedaling. I am backpedaling. I'm all for admitting when I'm wrong. I do it on a regular basis, and I get it wrong on a regular basis. But the VAR thing, I was banging a huge drum for it, and now I've got to say, it's starting to feel like a Frankenstein's monster, Gerry.
I've got to agree with you.
It's starting to feel like a Frankenstein's monster.
And has VAR got every decision correct? No.
Well, here's the thing. It still becomes subjective because at the end of the time, the referee still has to make a decision on whether they made an error or not. And so, but it's causing as much controversy as bad refereeing decisions.
Yeah.
And it's I'm sorry, I'm holding my hands up with this one. I'm not 100% convinced at this point. Maybe Charlie's right. Maybe it does have to be refined in a number of different ways. But I've got to be absolutely frank. I'm not convinced at the moment. I'm really not.
Well, I couldn't see that incident happening in an Old Firm game, Bill, where you thought one team was getting a penalty kick and they got up the park and the referee stopped the game.
Can you imagine what would happen?
That's what I'm saying. VR, hold it. It's a penalty. Oh, no for you, it's for the other team. What do you mean?
Because mayhem.
Not for me. VAR is not for me.
Listen, let's move on to the game tonight. Scotland, obviously, in Belgium, the European qualifiers. I've got the team here.
Okay, give us it.
David Marshall.
Yep.
Stephen O'Donnell. Mm-hmm. Charlie Mulgrew, who will be captain. Scott McKenna. Kenny McLean. Callum McGregor. Scott McTominay. Johnny Russell. Stuart Armstrong. Oliver Burke. And Greg Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. What's your thoughts?
Well, I'm glad that Johnny Russell's playing, and listen, I would like him to have got the Celtic job, but he didn't. He's now the Scotland manager.
You're going to have to get over that, you know.
But Bill, I couldn't understand why, and we made the point earlier when we were talking to Ian Murray, 3 Kilmarnock players in the Scotland team. Now, if Stephen O'Donnell is the best fullback that we've got, I keep going back to Alan Hutton. Nobody can tell me that Alan Hutton couldn't come in and help out the young guys at Scotland by playing right back for Scotland to talk to them. Nobody will tell me any different. I know he could have done that. Was he asked to do it? I don't think so. But people like that, I don't think Stephen O'Donnell is an international player. I don't think Brophy's an international player. I don't think Finley's international. But that's what we are left with. I was disappointed with the playing 1-up against Cyprus. I expected to beat Cyprus 2 or 3-0. We didn't. We played with 1-up, didn't we? Brophy. So Brophy doesn't play in this game now where he plays Johnny Russell. Now, why not play Johnny Russell against Cyprus, where there are more chances of Johnny Russell scoring goals against Cyprus than they are against Belgium? I'm a wee bit disappointed with his. The other thing will be, will they play with 1-up tonight?
Well, you've got no choice. You've only got the option of 1-up surely against a team like Belgium.
So if I say to you, we're going to play 1-up against Belgium and we're going to play 1-up at home against Cyprus, you would think, wait a minute here, is Cyprus no Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Go with 2 up again, Cyprus at home, or go.
I felt there was a certain... And let's talk about the Cyprus game as well. Let's talk about both the games till we bring our next guest on at 7:30. I thought Cyprus looked a very, very nervy affair for us. I thought Steve Clarke looked very nervous in his pre-match interview. I thought the players looked nervous, and there was a few poor performances.
Yes.
I was disappointed in Callum McGregor. I was disappointed in James Forrest. I was disappointed in Eamon Brophy. I wasn't that overly impressed. It was a cracking goal, but I wasn't that overly impressed with Andy Robertson, to be honest with you, Gerry. And I thought it was a very nervy performance. So from that point of view, we get a great goal, a goal up, and for me, that should have settled everybody, and we should have started to push. But see, when they come out and they sat off Cyprus, and sat off Cyprus, and sat off Cyprus, I thought, who do they think they're playing?
What disappointed me, Bill, was watching Kilmarnock against Celtic. Kilmarnock pressed Celtic high up the park. That's how they play the game. I expected to watch the Scotland-Cyprus game.
Which is a point I've just made.
I expected to watch that game, and I thought, disappointed for the start right away because we played with Brophy up front, who I thought, big decision. He was like a fish out of water.
He looked clueless, to be fair. Right? He looked clueless. He didn't know. The boy obviously didn't know what he should be doing.
The instructions by the manager must have been to leave them in possession of the ball. Now, before they got the goal, the centre-half went 20 yards with the ball, Bill.
That's right.
And threaded a pass between the left centre-back and the left-back. And they should have scored off it.
They should have.
They should have, but they didn't. And I thought, where is the Kilmarnock philosophy going of pressing high up the park? Have we not got better? Scotland not got better players than what Kilmarnock have, which I think they have. So collectively,
they've certainly got better players than what Cyprus have got.
Yeah, but my point was that they've got better players than what Kilmarnock had at his disposal. So if you've got better players, surely they can implement the instructions better and quicker for you. So press them high up the park. But I was actually bemused how we played, and I thought,
Why do you think that he chose that then?
I don't know, Bill. I really don't know why he played with 1 up. I don't know why he played with Brophy up front, because if you're Johnny Russell, and I know you play for your country, you come over from America, but if you think you're coming from America to go on the bench, do you think it'd be too eager to come over? I think Johnny Russell would have come over here thinking, I'm playing. McBurney, Ollie Burke, who was a bit part player at Celtic, on the bench, he's a good player to come on in the last 20 minutes because he can run for fun, that boy. But somebody like Johnny Russell, to play him against inferior players to what Belgium have, more chance of him scoring a goal. I was just surprised with his tactics, surprised with we left him on possession.
Do you think he's feeling the pressure though of expectation? Do you think because everybody's been waxing lyrical about Steve Clarke getting the job, and Shuggy made a very good point a few weeks ago before he was appointed. You appoint somebody who's hot. Steve Clarke's been hot.
Yeah.
Do you think though that maybe it raised people's expectation level too high, and it was always his plan to get bedded in and then start to play the natural game that he likes to play?
I think first and foremost, he didn't want to lose the game because you don't want to go and start there.
Yeah, but Gerry, if you don't want to lose it, you've got to go out and try and win it.
Correct. Now, if you looked at just before half time, the Scotland fans were booing. They were booing them. And I think you can kid people up, you can't kid a lot of fans on all the time, Bill, about Scotland playing 1 up against Cyprus at Hampden Park. You can't kid them on. We should have went with at least 2 up. At least 2. And give them a chance. Give the boy Brophy, who I think is a decent player. I don't think he's an international player. I think he's a decent player. Give him a chance. Have a partner with him. He had a lone furrow up front where he get starved of the ball. All his work was done was chasing people down. For me, that... Don't lose a game. Don't lose a game. Don't lose a goal. Don't lose a game.
If we'd have got a draw, or God forbid lost that game, it would have been over for us.
Yeah,
absolutely over for us.
My point is again,
it would have been down to the Nations League playoffs. But here's the thing, is that why he went out lined up the way that he went out? Because he knew that very quickly, if it had gone wrong, he was back to Alec McLeish territory.
Well, see if you give good players time in the ball, they'll hurt you at no end. When you give average players time in the ball, they're as good as the good players because they can then pick their pass, and as they proved doing the other night. So what do we do tonight? Do we press high up, or do we sit in?
See, I'll be honest with you, Gerry. I don't like sitting in because I think you're inviting teams onto you.
Yep.
And if you invite teams onto you, will give them opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And the law of averages says that a certain percentage, maybe a third of those opportunities, will hurt you. I think you've got to be careful. I discussed this last night with Gerry and with Hugh. I think you've got to get it right where you sit. But you sit too deep, you've got a problem. You sit too high, you're going to get caught. You've got to get it right, but I think you have to press further up the park than Scotland do, or did against Cyprus.
Well, I know that, but I don't understand why he's not doing that, because
maybe it is down to this thing at the minute of let's not get beaten, or tonight let's not be embarrassed.
Well, the best way to not get beat is go and try and win the game, and if you don't win the game, you get a draw. That's the best game. The best form of defence is attack.
Listen, I don't know about you, but see if we take 4 points from 6 over these 2 games, I think we've won a watch. If we get a point tonight, we'll at winning.
Of course. Do you say he's getting a point?
No, I don't.
No, neither do I.
don't.
No, neither do I.
But I hope we do.
Of course we all hope. We hope we win,
but do I see as... No, I don't, because I think there's too many areas that if we let a team like Belgium play, and if it was me, I'd just be breaking the game up. I'd just be breaking the game up so that they don't get into their stride and their rhythm, and that their key players don't get a chance to get a grip and a stranglehold of the game. I'd break the game up every chance I got, because we're too exposed in too many areas.
Mm-hmm. We don't, for an international team, Bill, we don't have enough pace.
No. But I don't think we've got an individual that is a playmaker. There are individuals that can change the course of the game. Callum McGregor ordinarily is one of them. He can be great in that position. But somebody who can dictate the pace, speed it up, slow it down, change direction. I don't think we've got anybody like that. Well, you obviously think we have.
No, I don't.
I don't know who.
I don't, Bill. I don't think we have. I think we've got a group of players. Now, I'll go back to what I was saying about Alec McLeish, and we're talking about. I really felt for Alec McLeish, because the punters out there don't realise that we don't have the players at our disposal that we think we can go and qualify for major tournaments. We don't have the players. Alec McLeish had a group of players. That's the best he had, and I believe that Johnny Russell, McLeish would have played Johnny Russell before, or Brophy wouldn't have been in the squad. He would have possibly played somebody before O'Donnell. I just think that Stevie Clark's come in, threw 2 Kilmarnock players in, put one on the bench right away, and I'm thinking, wait a minute here. Is that what we're left with? Kilmarnock players? There's got to be better players that we could bring in, but where are they? I don't know. I go back to Alan Hutton. Could Alan Hutton have done us a turn? Alan Hutton's fresh, hardly played at the last 3 months of the season with Aston Villa. He's got to be fresh today.
But does that make him match fit though, Gerry?
No, Bill,
you know the difference between being fit and being competitively fit.
Right, I know that. So you bring him back in, you're a counter-attacking team in Belgium. Alan Hutton has got all the experience in the world to help younger guys. Johnny Russell has played at higher levels and scored goals. I don't understand how guys like O'Donnell and Brophy walk into a Scotland team. I don't. And that's a bit that disappoints me with Stevie Clark. Although I want him as manager as well. I'm happy as manager, but I'm just disappointed on the first game on selection and tactics. Now, if we go and play one up again tonight...
Well, you can't condemn him for that.
No.
Not against Belgium.
No, but
I see the point you're making. How can you make the comparison between Cyprus and Belgium?
Yeah, we play me one up. So you're at home, your first national game at home, 34,000 at a game. You want the crowd, you want them behind you right away. The best way to get them behind you is what every Scottish team do. Roll the sleeves up, press high up the park, and it gets everybody off the edge of their seats. We don't do that. So I'm kind of worried tonight. Really worried.
What do you think we should do tonight?
I don't think you could press high up the park, because I think that they're rated the number one in the world.
But you can't sit too deep, surely.
They've probably got the best player in the world on form, Eden Hazard.
Well, I think the best player on form at the minute is De Bruyne. Well, that boy unpicks defences in midfield.
I think Hazard's the man that kind of open things up. And if you press high up the park, they'll take the ball and they're further apart, and they'll pass beyond you.
But you know the good thing about Belgium, and it's a bad thing for us, but it's a good thing for them. Both their playmakers, like De Bruyne and Hazard, not only can change the direction and the pace of the game, but they can take people on and run.
Yeah,
and that just splits defences.
I don't know. I would think I've recorded it. I think Scotland they'll retreat to the halfway line, and on their half of the park, from the halfway line to the 18-yard box, is where Scotland will shape up whoever they play, whatever way they play, and try and deny them. They'll give them all the half that they want in their half. When it comes to the Scotland half, that's where they start to shut the space down and deny them, where there's no place to run. That's what I think.
So you're disappointed with the initial setting out of the side by Stevie Clarke
on the Cyprus game.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're disappointed in the selection.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult to gauge anything tonight, except on how many goals we don't concede or do concede. So, what can we take from these two games potentially? Because if Stevie Clarke can play O'Donnell and he can play Brophy and he's brought them into the squad, you've got to assume he's going to keep going with them at some point.
Well, he's going to keep going with O'Donnell because he's playing again tonight. Do you think O'Donnell is the best full-back in the country?
Do I think he's the best full-back available to Scotland? Probably not. But then again, I'm starting to struggle to think of a full-back that's better than him. I know what you're saying about Alan Hutton.
I just think that...
But you see, I mean, I like Hutton, but I like the way he goes down the channel. Last night I was talking, the thing that disappoints me with O'Donnell is with Kelly, he makes the runs. The other night he was getting caught in no man's land. He didn't know whether to go or whether to stay.
Can't give the ball away.
And he was on top of Forrest, and it just... And I thought, everything's going down the left here, because Fraser and Robertson were working well down the left, but it was so predictable. It was easy to stop because you knew that's where it was all going.
So when they were putting balls in the box, who was in the box?
I've got the formation. The formation is
4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. 4-2-3-1.
That's what we played at Hampden. Jeez.
Well, what is that? I mean, I don't know. What do we expect?
No, listen, you go there and you're playing against better players. Sometimes you raise your game. It's like when you go to Parkhead now, what's my minnow team? You've got 40, 50,000 people there. You can raise your game and you still might get beat, but I tell you what you can't get is you can't match the other team's ability, but if you've got good controlled aggression and determination and the opposition don't match that, Scotland have got a lot of determination. If they get controlled aggression, if Belgium are not for a fight and a battle, then we can't get their ability, but you just maybe sneak something on controlled aggression and desire, determination. That's what you're hoping for.
I don't get the impression that you're...
No, because I think we're playing the best team in the world, Bill, with the best player in the world. For me, Hazard's the best player in the world right at this moment. He's opened up the Premier League unbelievably with a team that won... Okay, they won the UEFA Cup and they qualified for Europe, but hey, he's been the best player by a country mile. I know you think De Bruyne, but... No,
I think Hazard is a great player, but I think De Bruyne at the minute is in better form than Hazard.
Well, he was injured for 2 months, remember, De Bruyne?
No, I know.
So, for me, Hazard is...
Listen, Gerry, you can go through that team and you're not going to find many bad players in it for Belgium. Let's be fair.
No, I know.
But, I don't know what we expect. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't when you go into a game like this.
I think what the least you expect is a performance. If the Scotland players come off the park tonight, irrespective of the score, and you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I give it my best shot.
But that's the point I've been making for months. I don't feel that Scotland play their natural game, and their natural game is to be aggressive, it is to be committed, and I don't mean recklessly. And for too long I think we've tried to play this continental style of football which doesn't suit us. You see, when we play the way that traditionally you would play, people like Forrest going down the channels, people like Fraser going down the channels and things like that. It may be a different way of playing everybody else, but it gives us, we're more effective when we do that. So I don't know why we don't do it more instead of this tippy-tappy back and forward square stuff. You know, I know it's all about possession, but I've never seen anybody get 3 points at the end of the game for having most possession.
Well, I probably told you the story where I was talking to Jack Charlton after a sportsman's dinner, and we're talking, and he was in charge of Ireland in the World Cup.
I know Jack very well. He used to be chairman of the radio company I used to work for, and I always get plunked beside him at the Christmas dinner.
Well, I could have listened to the guy all night, and I was saying to him about his philosophy in football was get the ball from back to front, get the big guys like Niall Quinn, whoever it is, to go and battle their corner and feed off the second balls, and that's the way he played. That's the way he got success. Took him to the World Cup in America, and he said, it's crazy because I get slaughtered for playing the long ball game, but when managers play league games, whatever, and your team's getting beat years ago, the common thing to do would be centre half, go right up the middle.
That's right, punt it.
So teams would put the centre half up to centre forward to help the centre forward and punt the ball from back to front and try and feed off the crumbs. And he said, I didn't do it for 10 minutes, I done it for 90 minutes and I get joy out of it. So I quite like that philosophy, because for me, guys like Joe Jordan up front, where he would go and battle his corner. Now, we scored a goal the other night against Cyprus with getting the ball in the box.
Yeah.
With Ollie Burke battling his corner, he wins the header, comes back off the upright, and he taps the ball in. That's what we're all about. We're not
we're not a sophisticated team.
No chance. No chance. And that's where we get a lot of joy.
But why do we try and be a sophisticated team? Is it some kind of inbuilt embarrassment that people criticise you for playing a certain way which isn't attractive or whatever? You know, for me, I don't care. I mean, look, Livy were a great example. Livy played football when they had to play football on the deck. The rest of the time, they didn't apologise for it, and it kept them in the Premiership this season.
See, Bill, I think it's all about pride. No matter Scotland, Livingston, Rangers, Celtic. See if you pull that jersey on. See when you go in the park. The guy that you're playing or opposite against, if it's me and you in the midfield player, I used to tell the players, see if you get the better of the guy you're against. That's 1-0 to us. See if we've got 7 guys in the team that get the better of the opponents, we've got 7, we'll win the game. I think Scotland or Kilmarnock, Rangers, Celtic, when you go and play the game, outdo your opponent, and if the majority of your team can do that, you'll win. But if you can't do that, make sure he doesn't have a good game. Because if he doesn't have a good game, the likelihood is you could go and get a draw. So it's every individual battle. Win your individual battles, and collectively the team will come together. But
what do you think the score's going to be tonight?
What do I think it'll be? I hope it's nothing each, but I think it'll be 2-0 Belgium.
Okay, all right. I've just made a prediction on one of this app's things that I've got.
What do you think?
I've put it down 3-1 Belgium. I think we can nick a goal, but I think it'll be more about them taking their foot off the gas than us actually causing them any real problems. I'm like you, Gerry. I just want them to come away having given a good account of themselves, and that's all I ever want from Scotland, because I get frustrated to hell with the fact that they play all this, tippy-tappy stuff. Go and fight teams, go and get in their faces, go and cause them problems, show them what the Braveheart spirit to be corny. Get into them. Which we used to say.
Correct.
And I don't understand why we don't.
The Scotland fans at Hampden Park would cheer tackles. When you're tackling the opponents in their third of the park, whether it be Johnny Russell or Ollie Burke, whoever, Ollie Burke will shut down defenders and he'll close people down and the ball will go for a throw-in. The Scotland fans will cheer that.
Yeah.
Because that effort. And if he can do that for high up the park, if the Scotland team press higher up, then maybe something could happen, but I don't think it will. Because I think it will be play between your 18-yard box and the halfway line, give them possession in their half of the park, then we shut things down, and then you press for your halfway line. I think that's how he'll perform.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll talk a wee bit more about tonight's game before bringing on our final guest on Talking Football here on Rock Sport Radio.
Love music, live sport. Talking Football with Bill Young and Gerry Collins on Rock Sport Radio.
Straightforward question, Gerry.
Yep.
Can we qualify either by going through in the qualifiers of the Euros proper or through the Nations League?
Well, to be brutally honest, on the performance against Cyprus, obviously it's going to be very difficult. We have to be much better defensively and up front. Very difficult on that performance. But hey, tonight, if we go and perform to the best of our ability, they've got an off night and we could maybe, if we nick something tonight, I would change my mind.
Do you think we can go through, though, via the playoffs at the Nations?
Bill, I think there's still some dodgy teams that we've got to play to get to that stage. I'd like to think we could. And with the right guidance from Steve Clarke, but as I repeat myself, I wasn't too happy with his set up against Cyprus. Had we set up more positive and blown him away, I'd have thought, he's come in and changed the mentality. The mentality of the players didn't change because it was one up front with a guy that, for me, that was like a rabbit in the headlights running about a park with a Scotland cap. So,
okay, well, let's see what happens tonight. It's going to be an interesting one. What I don't want to get from tonight is embarrassed. You know, if we get an absolute pasting from Belgium, then I think people will start to look and wrongly make judgments too quickly on this.
But if you get a pasting for Belgium, it's probably expected. What we didn't expect was a pasting for Kazakhstan.
Yeah, well, I would like to think that we've learned a lot from that, albeit that it's under a new mentor. I don't want us to get a pasting tonight because I just know what fans are like.
No,
Gerry.
I know that. But you're saying that we've learned a lot. I don't think we've learned a lot because we conceded a goal at Hampden the other night for a set play who...
the player didn't have to leave the ground.
He never left it. You're right.
He stood anchored to the ground and just went boop.
Who did he walk off of?
It was Robertson.
Andy Robertson.
Yeah. It was Robertson.
Yeah.
You know, but here's the thing. We've always said that Robertson's not the best defender in the world. He's getting better, but he's not the best defender in the world. But, you know, here's another thing with things like that, Gerry. And that's where I think Scotland fall down greatly. How many times have we got to the dying embers of a game and lost the game because of a lack of concentration? The best example of it was when we Griffiths put those free kicks in against England and we thought, hey ho, we're away here. And we did it all over again. Stopped concentrating. We were already celebrating before the final whistle had gone. We were already in there giving it laldy in the dressing room, and there was still time to be played. And it was the same the other night. We do it time and time again. We just drop concentration, something goes, the next thing you know, a real problem.
You're right, and that's why you said you think we've learned from the previous game from the Kazakhstan. I don't think we have learned. And I think that showed the other night in the goal that Cyprus scored. Because
why don't we learn?
I think people switch off. I really do. I think people switch off. Bill, you watch a game, you watch any game in television, any game, and when they make a substitution, you'll see the coach or the fitness coach with the chart, and he'll be talking to the player, right here, here's what you do. I never seen that with Scotland. I seen the guy Stephen Reid talking to somebody coming on the park, and I know it's just to remind people Remember, hey, front post, your front post, his back post. Remember, tight at the back. I never seen that happening. But every other game you watch, Bill, you see the guy with the chart and talking to the player. Look, that's the corner kick, free kick. That's where you should be. I never seen that. I never seen it. Maybe he did do it, and maybe they never showed it. But I just think people going to organise. If you're organised, you're hard to beat. We look disorganised with the corner kick, with a guy just standing doing that, bang. So I don't think we have learned from that point of view.
It's one of those wee jokey ones that you see, isn't it? It's one of those wee jokey ones that you see at training, where somebody just stands there and the ball just drops on his head and he just bang, and everybody looks and says,
look at each
what
other.
happened there?
Who was picking him up?
Aye, what happened there? And you just think to yourself, at international level, when you're playing in the qualifier for a major tournament, you've gone up with a wonder goal, you think to yourself, no matter what I have to do, they're not scoring.
Bill,
and we just, everybody, I'm serious, we were all back in the dressing room celebrating.
Yeah. The fact that Andy Robertson dropped him for the goal, right, tells you. I said to you, I went to watch him, and what do I know about football? Nothing. When I thought, Andy Robertson, Queen's Park against Berwick Rangers, I think Berwick won 3-2, and Queen's Park were 1-1 nothing at the time. But anyway, goals came from Andy Robertson's side of the park, because you can't defend. But somebody thought, wait a minute here, Hull City or Dundee Gator, whoever it was, play three at the back, we could play him as a wing back. Now, I went to watch him as a left back, and my report was, he's not a good defender, he's no good in the air. Tell you what a tremendous injury he's got to get up and down the park. He's an asset to you getting forward. So somebody in wisdom thought, OK, we'll play him as a wing back. Is it a surprise that he drops a guy in a defensive situation because he's no thinking as a defender? So I think we've got to change the mentality. If you're a defender, you're a defender.
It'll be interesting to see what we're saying next week when we look back over the two games. We've already looked at Cyprus and said, we got out of jail, Gerry.
Oh, of course we did.
I know got out of jail.
Bill, that's what I was angered and annoyed with. Stevie Clark knows a lot more than I'll ever know. But in terms of that game, I felt that we should have played with two up to recognise people that Burke up front could cause him problems with his pace, and he'll shut down, and Johnny Russell for his guile that maybe have got us a goal. He played with neither. He brings one on off the bench, it gets us a win. He got out of jail. Tonight is back to wall again, so here's hope.
Well, you're going for 2-0, I'm going for 3-1, so we'll see how it all turns out.
Oh,
great
I hope
if
I'm
it was
wrong.
Nothing each.
Oh, you're right, I hope I'm wrong.
Or 1-0 to us.
I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see.
I think we all hope we're wrong, but you've got to be realistic about it.
You've got to be honest and think, well, can we defend for 90 minutes against a better team than Cyprus without conceding? No.
Not if we do it the way we did it the other night.
Correct.
That's for sure.
Correct.
Let's move on to our final guest now. It's been all change at a number of clubs over the last few weeks, players in and out, but more change than most down at Capello. Davy McKinnon's gone in as chief executive and brought in Davy Hopkin as manager. His number 2 is Anton McElhone, and Anton's on the line with us now. Anton, thanks for coming on with us first of all tonight. I'm assuming the association with David started at Bradford, did it?
Yes, it started a long time ago. David was very good. He brought us into Bradford in December. It was obviously our relationship. We'd known each other a long time over the last few years, doing our coaching badges together in 2010. So I've known David for a long time. Used to come and watch him when he was at Livingston, when he was at Morton, help out in any sort of way possible in the background. So again, I've known the big man for a long time.
There's been a fairly checkered season last season with Morton. Obviously, we had the situation. Sadly, where the original owner, the owner died, Crawford took over. With Ray McKinnon then poached somewhat surreptitiously by Falkirk, get that rumbled on. And then there was other bits and pieces that kind of came to light, and it ended up with Jonathan Johansson and Peter Houston walking out of their jobs. It's a fairly big job because it's kind of rebuilding from the bottom, isn't it, this season?
Yeah, listen, it's a huge task underhand. The gaffer's got great experience, as I say, from his time at Livingston. He obviously has worked at the club, so I think that makes it a huge benefit. He understands the players, the youth side of things, the reserves that he had there, young players that are coming through. Obviously, the new chief executives came in, which is going to give him even more support. So again, it's a blank canvas.
Yeah, watch him. Watch that chief executive boy.
Don't trust the guy with red hair.
I know him well. Watch him.
Yeah, listen, he's a top guy. He's come in and obviously he's helped to manage things on the football side. Again, it's player and stuff. So it's a massive thing to have so many people at the club working together to guide the club in the right direction. I think obviously things are obviously tough budget-wise. Things have been reduced. But again, the thing is as a club, we're trying to bring everybody together, make it more professional. There's the staff are all doing various jobs, like myself, Dave Timmins, the manager. We're doing all sorts of different jobs. Myself in fitness, analyst, coaching. Dave is obviously doing recruitment, goalkeeping, coaching. The gaffer, he's doing lots of stuff. Everybody's having to muck in, to actually help and develop the club, because obviously the money's not there, as you guys know. But obviously we're trying to do the best with the situation that we've got, trying to get investors, sponsors, everybody to help the club with regards to improving and making the club better.
Just before I bring Gerry in to give his tuppence worth, Anton, let me ask you this. Apart from your relationship and having known Hoppy for a while, what was it? Because you've been at big clubs and you were at Spurs for about 10 years. What was it about this particular gig that you found you couldn't say no to?
Listen, it's one of these things. Listen, I said, Hoppy as a manager is a fantastic coach. I think he's one of the best around at developing players and getting success. He's a winning manager. These were the things that I'd, obviously, in my coaching courses and stuff, worked with him and chatted to him. This was the thing that brought me to working with Hoppy, because obviously at Tottenham, fantastic club, fantastic experience, working with the best and developing, but you want to continue winning, you obviously want to go on your own path in coaching as well. So these were things that he obviously allowed me to do, go back into coaching, to try and win stuff, to come back home to Scotland. These were all the pools, you know what I mean? And it's obviously, we can hopefully get some success like the success he had at Livingston. That's the things for me.
Anton, excuse my ignorance here, Gerry Collins. What was your background? What was your background to? I know I just heard there you were at Tottenham. So did you start off as a player? What was a? Just give me.
So the background was, listen, I was an average youth player. Played at Motherwell. Played a little bit at Queen's Park. Moved into coaching. I started coaching very young at college. Get help through Tommy Wilson, who was my youth team coach at Queen's Park, and then brought us into coaching at Queen's Park in the early 2000s. From there, John Park took us to Hibs as a coach. From there, I was doing my sports science degree and coaching. And for me to get into coaching in the highest end of football was to go through the sports science route in fitness. So I went and it worked at Hibs. Tony Mowbray was my manager, then John Collins. Then the job came up at Tottenham. It was one of these things, you applied for it. I was very lucky to get the job, worked with some fantastic people. Harry Redknapp, Wandy Ramos, Andre Rios-Boas, Tim Sherwood, then Mauricio, and then obviously Brad Friedel took us to New England as part of his coaching staff to head up the fitness, to bring a Tottenham-style programme to the place. And obviously things changed as the year went on over there, family issues and other stuff, and the chance to come and back work with David was a no-brainer, to come back to the country. So that's sort of short over brief for the last few years.
So you're more of a fitness coach then, Anton?
Listen, I would like to think myself as a coach. My specialism is in fitness. Like, you've got players who are technically good, you've got players who are technically good physically. My background is in coaching. I've got my A licence, my B licence. I coached originally, and then it's that way to get as high as I could in the senior game without playing professionally. I had to go down the fitness route. Like you'll see many coaches now, if you see like the assistant manager at Tottenham, Jesus Perez, coach, as then was a fitness coach, and then he's went back to coaching. He's now the assistant manager. I think it's a modern day thing. I am not the typical assistant manager. My role will be the medical, the fitness, the analysis, assisting the manager. The manager's the tactical brains. He's the manager, the coach. My job's to assist him and make sure we've got the best team on the pitch, the fittest, the most organised, and all the things. So I would say I'm a different type of assistant manager than what's out there already, you know.
Anton, one of the things we talk about at any club, and especially as we come into a new season, is managing expectations. Have you, the manager, the chief exec and everybody else in the right place, sat down and looked at where you realistically expect Morton to be this season?
Yeah, I think, listen, from the players that we spoke to, the people we speak to, listen, our job is to have a competitive team that's fit, it's organised, hungry and it's well coached. Our job is to stay in the division. Listen, you've got huge teams there. You've got Dundee United, Partick, this, London, teams that were in the Premier League only a few years ago. So our job, first and foremost, is to be competitive, to be realistic, and actually try and develop the players that we've got. We've signed 3-year contracts. We want to be there long term. We obviously want to have stability at the club. Obviously, over the last few years, there's been obviously Jim Duffy was there for a few years, which gave great stability. Last year, we had so many managers. It's to be stable this year and actually develop stuff. Hopefully, within the 3 years, the aim is obviously to push and try and get promotion to the Premier League. I think as it should be.
When you say be realistic, what does being realistic mean for the new Morton moving forward?
I think, listen, it's being realistic, it's being patient. Listen, I think you need stability. You need players that are going to perform in the park week in, week out, give everything for the club. There's going to be some young players there. So like that young player, Lewis Strapp, who's been out on loan there, you know, players that are going to get a big chance to play week in, week out. It's not going to turn round overnight. Obviously, it's a new team, new staff, new players. Things can take 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. You know, the manager was very... You know, he got relegated at Livingston, then got them promoted back to back. You know, you sometimes have to go through a little tough part to get all the success. So that's all we're saying is being realistic. We will put out the best possible team we can. Very passionate team, energetic. It'll be tough to beat. But again, we've got to be patient as in for results and success, which is ultimately winning stuff, you know, winning promotion, trying to win cups and so on.
And knowing what fans are like at Capello, do you think fans will be patient?
Listen, if you're not winning games, nobody's patient. The thing is that's what I'm saying. We've got to be competitive. We've got to win games. We've got to be sure that we're trying to win games. I think fans will give you some time to actually get it right. But like that, first and foremost, you've got to win games, and you've got to show that you've got to win games. Then attractive football and free-flowing football, and that comes at another time, hopefully, with the more wins that you get.
And Tom, would I be right in saying that this would be the first time that Morton have really been involved in sports science in a big way? Because all previous managers, just to pick up what you were saying, you're different to the different to I was as a number two anyway, but
of course,
different in respect that all the previous number twos and managers didn't really rely on sports science. Like I'm thinking Hussein Jonathan, so it could be a big major change for Morton.
It can be a major thing. The thing is I think, no disrespect to the club, I think in the past few years they've had previous sports scientists at the club. The thing is like that, my job is to assist the manager. How do we plan? How do we organise? How do we do stuff? The most important thing is to have your best 11 players on the pitch. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the best 11 players on the pitch, you're not going to succeed. You know, you look at whatever level you're at, you hear it, oh, listen, if we had that player and that player available, we might have done well. That's your job. We need to have, you know, we don't have a big budget. We don't have a big squad, so we've got to utilise that squad, make sure they're as fit, and it costs nothing to have a team that's fit and it's organised. You know, so we will try everything that we can. You know, that we've got to be thinking outside the box to get resources into the club. As I say, it's not Tottenham, it's not New England, it's not even Bradford, where there was a bit of money to get stuff. So we've got to think smart, we've got to be organised, and we've got to do things different. Because I think it's why these things, listen, Scottish football, there's not lots of money like in England, but we've got to be creative. And like that, when I was at Hibs, we didn't have everything there with Tony or John Collins, but we still get success because the coaching was right, the players, the recruitment, the management, everything needs to be right. I think all your values, the normal coaching, still need to be maintained, you know.
Anton, do Morton have the computers for the sports science to check on fitness levels of individual players?
Listen, as I say, it's one of these things. Listen, the club's got some resources, some GPS and so on. The thing is with the sports science side, that listen, the eye will tell you how hard a player works. The GPS just backs that up, and that's having that experience. That's where, yes, I've got the experience in science, but I don't call myself a scientist. I call myself a football coach with an interest in fitness. That's how I see it. So at the end of the day, it's basics. Listen, if you've got a guy that works hard, you can see that. You don't need a monitor or anything to check that. That just double checks it. So again, you'll be using old school new school principals. As I say, we don't have the money that Celtic and Rangers have got to go out and buy X, Y and Z, but we've got knowledge and experience. That's where I've got knowledge, the gaffer's experience in coaching. That's hopefully what we've got. We've got Dave Timmins' experience from England coaching, recruitment. We use everybody's ideas to make the club better without costing huge sums of money. Hopefully, if we're successful, then the club brings in a little bit more money, and we can get more stuff done.
You've mentioned teams like Thistle, like Dundee United, Inverness, Cally Thistle, and you're quite right. They've all been up there in the Premiership in recent years. It's not been an easy league to get out of once you're in it, and obviously you know that. It's probably the most competitive league it has been for the last 4 or 5 seasons in Scotland. When you're saying there's been reductions in budget, how competitive realistically can you be when you're going to start recruitment? And you've had to recruit a good number of players, I assume.
Yeah. Listen, I think the key thing is we've been able to keep experienced players like Bob McHugh, Jim McAllister, Chris Miller, guys that are fit, hungry still, want to be at the club. The thing is it costs nothing, as I say, to have a team that's fit and available. If you look at all the teams at the season, they might have a great start at the season and they dip off. If you've seen the Gaffers team at Livingston, both seasons when they get promoted, they were as fit as they were at the start of the season as they were at the end. They were hungry, they were still on the front foot. That's what we aim to recreate there. We want a team. Listen, it costs nothing to have players that are hungry and fit. And that's what our aim is obviously the coaching for the manager. We will try everything we can, but hopefully we've got hungry players. You've got Lewis, Strack, Regan, Tumulty, Keegan Jacobs still young. You've got Rhys Lyons. We've got young players as well as experienced players, but actually the standards that we bring, the professionalism that we're going to try and bring to the club from Hoppy, the gaffer, myself, to make things better. Because these things don't cost anything. You look at the money that the Dunfermlines paid last year and the year before Thistles, it doesn't necessarily balance itself out saying that you'll be at the top of the league. So I think that's where we've got to be. We've got to be hungry, disciplined, and have the best attitude to go out and try and win games.
Sorry, go on. No, fire away.
No, I'm just going to say it's a tall ask as well, but I tell you what, see if the players are as enthusiastic as you are, Anton, you're on a winner. Because you're real.
I thought for a minute we were talking to Stuart Kettlewell for a minute, actually.
No, but Anton, you're enthusiastic, and if that can rub off on your players, I tell you what, and if you can get that over to them.
Listen, Gerry, you've been a manager, you've been a coach. Listen, you need good players that want to be there. And I think the manager, Davy McKinnon, have got players that want to be at the club. First and foremost, they've got players that are hungry. If you've got players that are hungry, you look at guys like Andy Robertson, playing at Queen's Park, goes to Hull. Listen, he's moved up because he's got hunger, desire, and he's got a bit of talent. You know what I mean? That's what we've got to do. We've got to find players and develop them and push them and give them all the necessary stuff, because it doesn't cost anything to get to high levels.
I'll tell you one thing as well, Anton, is you're on about the fitness stuff. See if you've got a fit team. I can go back. I was just telling Bill earlier, I remember the Hamilton days when Lambie were part of it. We were the fittest team in the league, and Lambie used to pride his team on fitness. If Morton can replicate the fitness levels of Hamilton in the days, you'll win games, and it'll be astonishing at how many games you'll win in the last 15 minutes of the game because of your fitness levels.
Of course, listen, I think you've got your Sir Alex Ferguson, from St Mirren's to Manchester. All his teams were fit, played to the last minute. They were hungry, they had desire. Listen, that's it. It's nothing fancy. Listen, if it was about coming to Morton because they had this facility and that facility, there's no point, because they don't have these things. I think you've got a manager who can coach. You've got a club that are willing to back the manager and try and build something and create something successful, and hopefully that's what we can do, building it on people who want to be at the club and that want to be there for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, rather than want to be there for a few months.
Mm-hmm. How are things going recruitment-wise? I mean, have you got many places still to fill?
Yeah, obviously up front we're doing okay. We've got midfield, obviously we're still looking at in defence for what the manager's looking to play. Obviously centre-back, but again, that's an ongoing process at the moment. We're speaking to lots of players from Scotland, from down south. Obviously, as I say, the budget, listen, we don't have a huge budget, it's been slashed, but we are putting it out to players, look, this is what you could get. You come here, it's going to be professional, we're going to try our best to do things the right way, players coming in, getting fed in the mornings, the right training programmes, the right sort of coaching and education. Yes, it's not going to be great money, but if you do well, you'll make your money. 2 years, 3 years down the line. I think all the players at Livingston.
I take it then, Anton, that despite the budget's being slashed, the club are still staying full-time.
The club's staying full-time, but again, listen, it's in a part-time budget. There's going to be, Arbroath, Alloa, who'll be part-time next year, they could have better budgets than us, and they will be competitive because they'll be able to give so much money a week to the best part-time players, guys that can go out and still earn a living. So we're up against that, but like that, we'll be training every day, we'll be doing things the right way. Again, like the Gaffer done at Livy, it was a small budget, but it got huge success because he had the right players, who young, hungry, experienced players, and that's what we'll be doing again this time. At the end of the day, there's no excuse for us not to try and be positive and succeed in the league, because at the end of the day, it's having the right players and the right people at the club rather than just having money.
I think Hoppy sells it itself, Bill. I think when Hoppy goes to try and sign players, all they've got to do is look at his record, look at what he's done with players at Livingston.
Listen, he develops players.
Yeah.
Josh Mullen, Pittman, who could do well and go into other clubs. You've got Liam Kelly, who was there when he was in League One. Listen, there's an endless amount of players. Halkett, Gallic. Listen, a lot of them, they came for pennies, stayed it out and done what he asked them to do. And I used to go and watch them in training. Obviously, they've done fantastic, but again, it was hard work. And he coached them and he worked them hard, and that's what we've got to do again. And it's obviously a little bit of a tougher situation,
I'm a big fan of Hoppy's and always have been. In fact, when he left Livy and he wasn't doing anything, I had him in for every job that there was going. But I think the thing I like about Hoppy is he's a players manager. Players relate to him and he relates to them. And I think that's very, very important, especially when you're asking players to do certain things and you're telling them, look, you've got this opportunity, it's not going to be the best money. They'll buy into it, like you said, Gerry, when it's somebody like Hoppy. Hoppy's very contagious.
Without a doubt. And Anton's right. See, if you buy into it and you do what he wants you to do, you'll make more money because you'll get promotion. And then the wages will go up and you'll get bonuses. So,
of course.
Yeah.
One of the other things I was going to say, and I'm not meaning to be funny because it's a great little ground, but there's a lot to be done at Capello, and I'm just wondering if the ambition of the club now, in terms of getting you and Hoppy in and building a team, is going to run parallel with kind of doing the stadium up a wee bit.
I think it's one of the things. I can't comment too much on it, but what I would like to think is the club grows again and gets out of where, obviously they'd. Years ago under Alan, they nearly get promoted, then they get relegated, then they bounce back up. We've got to be stable. We've got to have a competitive team that's competing to go up. I think once we get that and there is success, I think the investment will come in, because I think you've got all the right people at the club. There's investors in the area, investors in Scotland who want to put money into the club to help it develop. So I can see that happening, but probably a little bit behind what's happening on the pitch. I think you've got to get the pitch right. First and foremost, what's on the team.
Oh, the product's got to be your main focus, obviously.
Yeah. Of course. Listen, you can put all the money into a stadium. You look at the Premier League, you've got Swansea in the Championship, you've got huge stadiums. All the money's been put in, and then they're having to cut back. You've got to be very careful. I think that's why for me, it's a traditional ground. Fans can stand. There's a great atmosphere. It might only get 4,000 or 5,000, but it's going to feel packed. That's going to be one of the main pluses for me. You could have went to Livingston when Hoppy was the manager there. You get 1,000 odd fans, and it doesn't feel the same when they were in the League One or stuff. So I think it's a great stadium, and I think that'll attract a lot of people because it's traditional rather than your new modern stadiums.
Well, it's going to be exciting, and it's going to be interesting to see how things shape up at Capello this season. Give David my very best, both McKinnon and Hopkin, and thanks for being on with us. It's been great talking to you. I know we'll probably talk again at some point during the season, but it's nice to see that Morton are going to start to try and reclaim their rightful place. They're a great club and a club with great tradition, so I wish you the very best for the forthcoming season. Thanks, Anton.
Good luck.
Much appreciated. All the best for the season. Cheers,
Cheers.
guys.
There you go. Anton McElhone is David Hopkins' number 2 at Morton, and like you say, I mean, would you have thought you'd speak to Stuart Kettlewell? You can't bottle that kind of enthusiasm. If you could, you'd win everything with everybody.
I don't know, Bill. I don't know of him. I tell you what, very enthusiastic. And if I get a wee bit of that could rub off on the players, and the fact of what Hoppy's achieved at Livingston, tell you what, Morton could be a dark horse.
But he makes a lot of good points as well in terms of, you know, if you're lacking in some areas, be the best in others. Like your fitness, like your commitment, you know, that kind of thing.
Bill, that was Lambie's philosophy. Lambie wasn't a tactician or a great man manager, but tell you what, fitness. He prided his team on fitness. And what I was saying, I think we won something like 8 or 9 games in the last 15 minutes of a game where we were part-time, and we were overrunning teams because of the fitness levels. And that's, if Morton get that fitness thing right and get a bit of ability, you never know, a wee bit of determination to just maybe be the dark horse this year. Maybe.
I've got to tell you, Gerry, Scotland looking pretty good. They're chasing everything down. They've been on the attack a couple of times. Early days, obviously. There's only 6 minutes gone, but it's a different team to what we saw the other night. They're actually...
Are they pressing high up?
Well, they're not at the minute because they're back defending, but they have been.
Right.
And they've actually had... the wing-backs have been attacking, and they've actually had support up with Ollie Burke. So it's looked fairly impressive. It surprised me. But they're into everything, and they're not letting Belgium settle on the ball.
So Ollie Burke is the head of the line.
Yeah.
Is Johnny Russell in behind him?
Yeah. But they're not letting Belgium settle on the ball, but that's the right thing to do. If you let good players settle on the ball, they'll punish you.
That's what we said.
Yeah. So, no...
That's his game. That's Ollie Burke's game. Shutting people down. It's a horrible thing to say for a guy who's been transferred for £30 million, but his best part of the game
is charging around.
is shutting people down. He's a worse player with the ball at his feet. I don't mean to be disrespectful to him.
No, you're absolutely right. I think everybody would say that.
He puts people under pressure. He wins throw-ins that you can maybe score goals off of. So
the Belgians have just done a run there and you know, got in the box with a decent opportunity. But Scotland have defended it. They've got a free kick in the edge of their own box, and they'll calm it down a wee bit. But no, they've chased everything down. They've been pretty disciplined shape-wise, and they have had 2 or 3 attacks where Burke's got the ball and he's...
gave it away.
No, he hasn't at all. In fact, there was a nice wee move where he just sent a player the wrong way. So no, look, it's encouraging at this point. It's early days. And, you know, just know the Belgians will see what they see for the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and they'll get the measure of Scotland and things might change. But I have to say, Scotland are pressing pretty high. You know, there's 5 men in the Belgian half at the minute. Oh, Scotland just put one past the post. Miss hit. Oh. But it was, you know, it was Burke.
So far, so good then.
It's encouraging. Put it that way.
Good.
It's encouraging.
Good.
So, I know, it's very encouraging. I'm not sure that if it had fallen to anybody but Buck, that it might have ended up in the goals. Like he's well past, but it looked decent from another angle.
Well, let's see how long we can keep this up, Bill, because if there's only 6-7 minutes gone, after 80 odd minutes, if we can still maintain the levels of what they're doing just now.
Well, I've got to say, and I will say it, I am pretty impressed. They forced an unforced error there from Belgium. In terms of a guy was making a run, had to come back. I don't know who it was because I can't see it properly. Had to come back, tried to switch the play to the opposite wing and put it out. So they're forcing
because they get put under pressure.
Yep.
Which we never done against Cyprus.
Well, that's the whole thing. It looks a different team in terms of the effort, in terms of the commitment. They're chasing everything down. They've still got to be careful. They don't. You know, we can still look sometimes a wee bit naive when we defend. And we're getting caught a couple of times. You know, the Belgians are having the better chances, more clear-cut chances. But we're defending well, and we're you know, everybody's doing well, I have to say. It's an interesting start.
Good.
Scotland really are pressing, and they're getting men forward. I mean, that last attack, they've got 5 men in the Belgian half this time. Long ball just been knocked on. Company. What a great player. It's looking pretty decent. I'm fairly excited about this.
Good.
I'm not excited enough to think we're going to win and be a bit of a dafty.
No.
But, we are making a fist of it. I'll tell you what worries me. The way we're playing just now, can we keep it up for 90 minutes?
That's what I said. You tell me that in 80 minutes if we've still got the same energy levels.
Yeah. It's if we can keep it up for 90 minutes.
But the thing is, Bill, Ollie Burke will harass defenders. He will work a back for himself, right? So if he can do that for as long as he can, and then you make the change, and hopefully that the guy coming on who's fresher has only got maybe 15, 20 minutes to do what Burke has done for 60, 70, whatever. Well,
the Belgians are great with these little close triangles, so Gerry, you watch them and just phenomenally good. Just the wee one-touch things between the three men and the triangle, and the next thing you know, they've got extra space that you never thought was there. Class.
That's why they're number one in the world, isn't it?
Class.
And they've got, for me, the best midfield player in the world, Hazard. So, anyway, here's hoping. We're doing well now. Long may it continue.
We are indeed. You still want to stick with the 2-0?
Yeah. Still, I've not seen it, but you're watching the monitor.
Well, I've got to be honest with you. I think I'm gonna go probably with your 2-0. If Scotland can maintain this, and that's the issue, if they can maintain this, I think they're in with a decent shout of coming away with not a great result. They'll still get beat, I think, but it'll be a result that you can walk away and say, right, we actually made a fist of it.
So if we get beat tonight and we give a performance,
I'll be happy.
Correct, because then Belgium will know, hey, we were in the game tonight there.
I'll be happy. And it's just showing you now, this was one where they think it was maybe VAR, but the player had his arm down, tucked into him, so it obviously wasn't. Listen, that's it. We'll get in the car, get home, have a look at it. I'll listen to it. Thank you. See you same time next week. I'll be back tomorrow. Ali Graham will join me then.
Love music. Live sport. Talking football with Bill Young and Gerry Collins on Rock Sport Radio.